A video got recommended to me on Instagram. It's a bit lengthy. If you want to skip it, I'm just going to explain my perspective on it anyway.
Simps turn women into narcissists. Social media created a pandemic called simping, treating women like royalty simply because they look good. It's caused many women to turn into narcissists. When many men make women feel like they are above them, these women start to view everyone else as beneath them. The power of being sought after changes their perspective on the world. It's what will happen to almost anyone who receives money, gifts, or a lifestyle for simply existing. They basically feel like a celebrity because simps treat them like one. All this does is feed their ego and make them feel like they could do nothing wrong. Even if they are the problem in their relationships, they are quick to leave. All the simps make them feel like they have tons of options, even if they're low quality. Narcissism causes people to have no respect for others. They lack empathy, feel entitled to getting what they want, have low genuine desire to be with people, and dehumanize them. Simping is such a problem that when there are men who don't do so, it confuses some women. It has become so normalized for them that they think there's something wrong with the man. They get upset or angry. They're like, "Where's my bare minimum treatment?" When this man just has respect for himself. Narcissism is what happens when shallow praise makes people stop caring about character. When they are rewarded for their outer shell instead of their inner one. It makes people devalue important qualities like respect. Qualities that keep relationships healthy. Don't be a simp, guys. Watch my YouTube for more. Drizzle.
I think he makes an interesting point. Rather, I would say I mostly agree with this, but there are some points I feel like he didn't bring up that would help what he's trying to say here. Remember how I said in older videos, when it comes to friendships or relationships, you will find yourself mentally drained by people who lack structure and containment. The people who are always whining about their problems in life, specifically, I even made a whole video about avoid the unlucky, right? There are people who are unlucky in life. Not strictly because of the randomness of life, but they also put themselves in situations that increase their chances of getting unlucky in life. Poor decision making, impulsivity, letting their urges and passions take over, and when a man becomes unlucky because of his poor decision making, impulsivity, or urges or passions taking over his psychology, when it comes to women, he will become a simp. When it comes to friends or family, he will become a burden. Now, let me ask you guys a question. And honestly, it's rhetorical because if you disagree, I don't know. I feel like you're exactly the problem people talk about in society when it comes to this. The question is this. When you simp over someone or you become a burden to someone, do you think that person is going to respect you still? Serious question. And again, if you think yes, they will, then I got some really, really bad news for you about life. People won't respect you if you don't respect yourself. It's just that simple. You've heard that a million times too. Speaking of simping is not self-respect. Dropping or burdening and draining people with your own personal problems is not self-respect either. Why do you always got a problem, bro? Why you always got something going like, bro? Like you think I'm gonna respect you? So when someone doesn't respect you, but you keep feeding them or putting them on a pedestal or programming their subconscious to behave that you are dependent on them, that constant validation and chasing, it's going to blow up their ego. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody, but this is what I meant where like I mostly agree with everything because I don't think he's wrong what he's saying in this video, but I think this video is a bit too targeted for reasons though that I understand. Why is he specifically talking about women? Because I'm sure there's some women watching this video who feel like, well, men can also be this way. When we put men on pedestals, they'll also, they can also get their ego inflated. But here's the thing about this. Why do people who are constantly fed or put on pedestals or constantly validated, it creates narcissistic personality traits? When I say that this happens to everybody, man or woman, it's based on how their parents treated them. A lot of parents out there struggle to tell their child no, struggle to tell their teenagers no. A lot of parents out there don't want to keep their child humble. Why? Because it's reasonable. I understand because you want your child to experience the greatest life ever, right? The struggles you went through in life, you don't want your child to experience that. Of course. You want to make a kid happy, have an amazing childhood. No one wants a terrible childhood, right? But it's hard to do that and balance this to where a child will grow up humble, will grow up knowing that, hold on, wait, things get taken away from me. Hold on, wait, no? I understand what the word no means. I understand rejection. But when it comes to raising children, when you raise a daughter, Parents, specifically dads, for some reason, give their daughter the princess treatment, spoiling their daughter, making them feel like goddesses. And then are you surprised they grow up and they become narcissistic? Are you surprised they grow up and when daddy isn't around to buy them stuff or spoil them or safeguard them, they suddenly got daddy issues and are attracted to people with wealth and a form of safeguarding and security? It's a huge problem that people don't want to address in society because they feel like they're doing the right thing. Oh, I want my daughter, she's going to grow up to be a princess. All right, well, but you know what happens if you have a son? You give him tough love and teach him how to be a man, right? Reserve his emotions. But if you have a daughter, for some reason, they get the princess treatment, then they grow up entitled and they crave attention. And for the guys, the guys who they grow up insensitive and not understanding how to express their emotions properly because they were taught to be a man. Men shouldn't have emotions like that. And then men grow up lacking empathy, lacking compassion. But what happens is, with the polarity of society and how people raise their children, we act like this is normal. Yeah, queen, slay queen, we're goddesses. Please. And because we act like this is a normal psychology of a woman or the majority psychology of a woman. What happens is men give up. We're like, all right, well, women act this way. We're going to overgeneralize, right? And men will think that, all right, well, since this is just how women are, right, and we're just going to generalize it, you know what? We just got to compromise with their ego. That's what happens. So how do men compromise with with this sort of ego, or what we think is the majority of what we're generalizing here? We got to simp. We got to chase. We got to put them on a pedestal. And this is what, and then when a guy doesn't do this, it's misogyny, right? All right. But you see, hey, listen. You know what's funny? I've been here too. Well, you know what's hilarious? Ha ha ha. If you think back, well, I won't say if you think, I haven't told it, but I think back to all of my relationships in the past. Every time I was done dirty, I'll give you a perfect example for the Aqua anime. Remember Samantha, the last girl, right? She cheated on me. I remember, and I still have the text messages. I used to argue with her about this all the time. I would say something. I would tell her, this was months ago. This was like last year, pretty much. I would tell her, you don't respect me. I felt that way so many times towards her. Yet I was taking care of her emotionally, financially. I would hang out with her. I was overgiving. And I don't know if it counts as simping if you can simp over a long-term girlfriend, okay? But I guess I was simping. But I was definitely overgiving. While there was no balance. I didn't get much in return. And when I started to feel like you don't respect me, you know what started that feeling for me? During that time period, when I started flipping my life around without her, and I started to take care of myself without her, and I started to get on my grind without her, and people besides her expressed how much they cared and loved me, and they showed that to me, friends, family, and so forth, I started to see something completely different with her because this is the oddball out. The people around me, they're caring about me. They're expressing they love me. They're showing me respect. This is the only person who's not. And it's my long-term girlfriend. So, that's where I started to feel and start to say to her, hey, you don't respect me. And this is the problem. This is why, and guess what happens? A month later, y'all remember? I find out she was being unfaithful. You know why someone would be unfaithful to you? They cheat on you or do something crazy to you? Because they don't respect you. They feel they are entitled to stuff. Accountability does not exist in their world. Just like the video said, you simp. You overgive. You don't create balance. Whatever you want to call it, y'all. And I'm going to say this. I think you should consider this too. When it comes to this, right? Because when I saw the video on Instagram, I'm seeing the comments right now, and people seem to be like angry with like their ex, or like they're angry at like certain women that they are thinking about, right? Look, this is the thing here. And this is a problem with accountability from our end, even just like talking about this subject. I'm not mad at Samantha. I'm not mad at any person who I let hurt me because they didn't respect me. You shouldn't be mad at your ex or whoever you're thinking about, this narcissistic woman or this woman who didn't respect you or didn't have accountability or empathy towards you for what she did to you. You shouldn't be mad at her. It's your fault. And it's my fault. Why? Because I created the monster. You created the monster. Don't get mad at Shorty or your ex or whatever for not respecting you later on. You created it because you didn't balance. You put them on a pedestal. You were overgiving. You were simping. You gonna be mad at them? For real, you created them. You literally put them in that mental space. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Can't be mad at everybody else besides yourself for this. The key thing is balance. And they should not put you on a pedestal either. Because once they do so, and a lot of men haven't done the work either to know how to be in situations like this. Because again, I said the video feels targeted, which is why I said this is the only reason why I feel like the video is a little bit odd. Men can also be this way too. You put a man on a pedestal in a relationship, I think men are very egotistical creatures and very prideful, just naturally. And also due to environmental, societal, and biological, whatever, right? Men can get really crazy when they're put on a pedestal, or when they're in positions of power. So it goes both ways. And we need to understand that again, just balance. So in my opinion, it all starts with how you were raised. And I think we've created subconscious identities because we praise people as if they're better than the average human being. And they'll feel they're above others in society. And that's where the dehumanization comes in play. And that's when the lack of respect for others occurred. This is just my perspective on this. Anyway, this episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. I'm out.